It was a single sound, a guttural noise of pure exhaustion that escaped the lips of the King of England, and in that split second, the mask of majesty slipped, revealing the sheer torment of a man besieged by his own bloodline. We are told that the king is a symbol of stoicism, a man who waits 70 years for the job and performs it without complaint. But we have just received a report that shatters that illusion. King Charles III, standing in the grandeur of the investiture ceremony, was warned by an aide that a relative was next in line. And what did he do? Did he smile? Did he open his arms? No. He groaned. He muttered, "Another one?" That groan is the sound of a man pushed to the brink. It is the sound of a father who has been betrayed by his youngest son. It is the sound of a monarch who looks at his family tree and sees not a canopy of support, but a jungle of vipers, leeches, and opportunists. While the mainstream media will play this off as a funny little anecdote about a tired old man, do not be fooled. This is a window into the soul of the House of Windsor. It reveals a deep-seated trauma regarding relatives that Harry and Meghan have inflicted upon the king. He is terrified of who is coming next. He is terrified of who wants a piece of him. And frankly, after the year he has had, can you blame him? Welcome back to the channel, the only place where we decode the king's whispers and tell you what they really mean for the future of the crown. We don't just report the news, we expose the psychological warfare happening behind the palace gates. If you stand with King Charles against the grifters who have exhausted him, smash that subscribe button right now. We need to talk about the groan heard round the world and what it tells us about the king's battle with cancer and his battle with his family. The incident took place during a recent investiture. For those who don't know, these are long, grueling events where the king stands for hours, pinning medals on deserving citizens. It requires immense physical stamina that, as we know, is currently being sapped by his cancer treatment. According to the report, His Majesty was warned by a staff member, a nervous equerry no doubt, that a sort of relative was on the list of recipients. Now pause and put yourself in Charles's shoes. The last time a relative made headlines, it was his son mocking the monarchy on American TV. The time before that, it was his brother refusing to leave a rotting mansion. The word relative does not bring joy to King Charles anymore. It brings PTSD. Upon hearing the news, the king groaned and muttered, "Another one?" This reaction is heartbreaking. It suggests a man who feels surrounded. It suggests a man who is constantly looking over his shoulder, wondering which distant cousin or long-lost nephew is going to pop up and ask for a favor, or worse, sell a story to the tabloids. The report suggests that Charles may have been having a flashback to the actor Danny Dyer. You might remember this. Danny Dyer, the EastEnders Hardman, went on the show Who Do You Think You Are? And discovered he was a direct descendant of King Edward III. He actually told Charles at a reception earlier this year, "Just wanted to let you know we're related, but I won't go into it." It was a joke, it was funny, but for Charles, it underlines a terrifying reality. Everyone wants to be a Windsor, everyone wants the reflected glory, but nobody wants the duty. However, the relative in question at the investiture wasn't Danny Dyer. It wasn't a long-lost tutor, and thank God it wasn't Meghan Markle in a trench coat trying to sneak back in. It was Claudia Winkleman. The relief must have been palpable. The king's mood reportedly improved instantly. Why? Because Claudia Winkleman represents the good kind of royal connection. She is the sister of Sophie Winkleman, also known as Lady Frederick Windsor. And this brings us to a crucial point that the Sussex squad hates to acknowledge. Sophie Winkleman is the anti-Meghan. She is the living proof that an actress can marry into the royal family and not destroy it. Let's look at the connection. Sophie Winkleman is a successful actress. She was in Peep Show. She was in 2.5 Men. She married Lord Frederick Windsor, the son of Prince Michael of Kent. She is a working actress who married a minor royal. Does she give interviews trashing the family? No. Does she complain about the hierarchy? No. Does she demand security? No. In fact, when she had a terrible car accident a few years ago, who took care of her? King Charles. He arranged for her to have the best care. She has spoken warmly, privately, and respectfully about the king. So when Claudia Winkleman showed up to get her MBE, she wasn't just a TV presenter, she was a reminder of the loyalty that still exists in some corners of the extended family. She is a sort of relative through marriage, a second cousin-in-law connection that is convoluted but safe. The king, a fan of Strictly Come Dancing, was delighted. But that initial groan, that another one, that stays with you. It shows the defensive crouch the king is in. We have to look at the context of his health to understand why his patience is so thin. The report confirms that King Charles has provided a massive update on his battle with cancer. In a video addressed to the nation for the Stand Up to Cancer campaign, the 76-year-old monarch revealed the good news that his treatment will be reduced starting from next year. He put this down to early diagnosis, successful care, and following doctors' orders. This is a victory. It is a triumph. But let's be real about what treatment means. It means chemotherapy. It means exhaustion. It means nausea. It means days where you can barely lift your head off the pillow. And yet, he stands there at investitures, pinning medals, smiling, making small talk. When he groaned, it wasn't arrogance. It was the physical and emotional toll of the last 2 years bubbling to the surface. He is fighting a lethal disease while fighting a PR war against his son. He is tired, and frankly, the fact that he is still doing these investitures is a miracle. A lesser man would have retired. A lesser man would have said, "I'm sick, leave me alone." But Charles believes in duty. He believes in the crown. But this story about the groan highlights the invisible enemy we talk about so often. The specter of Harry and Meghan hangs over every interaction. If Harry hadn't spent the last 4 years selling his family down the river, the king wouldn't be so jumpy about relatives. He wouldn't be suspicious. He would be welcoming. Harry has poisoned the well. He has made the king afraid of his own bloodline. Imagine if Harry had walked into that investiture. Imagine if it wasn't Claudia Winkleman, but the Duke of Sussex. Would there have been a groan? Or would there have been a heart attack? The stress that Harry puts on his father is medically dangerous. Doctors often say stress is a killer, and Harry is the biggest stressor in the king's life. The report says the king's mood improved when he realized it was just a Winkleman. The Winklemans are safe. They are sort of relatives who know their place. They don't want the throne. They don't want half the duchy. They just want to do their jobs and support the family. This distinction between the safe relatives and the toxic relatives is becoming the defining feature of the new reign. We saw it with the Christmas list. Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes are stepping back to give the king space. We see it here with the Winklemans being welcomed. The king is surrounding himself with people who don't demand things from him. And then you have the Sussexes who demand apologies, money, security, and attention. The king's announcement about reducing his cancer treatment is huge news, but notice how he did it. He didn't sell the story to Netflix. He didn't write a memoir about his cancer journey. He did it through a charity campaign to help others. He urged people to get checked. He used his suffering to serve. Meghan Markle, meanwhile, announces a cookie documentary. The contrast in dignity is blinding. The groan also tells us that the king is human. He isn't a statue. He gets annoyed. He gets tired. He wonders why everyone wants a piece of him. It makes him relatable. We have all had that moment at a family gathering where we see a cousin we don't like and think, another one? But for a king, that feeling is magnified 1,000 times, because his relatives have the power to destroy his legacy. Let's talk about the Danny Dyer element of this story because it is hilarious but also telling. Danny Dyer telling the king we're related is a bit of fun, but it touches on a nerve. The monarchy is an exclusive club. Harry tried to make it a global franchise. He tried to open the doors to Netflix and Spotify. He tried to monetize the bloodline. The king's groan is a rejection of that commercialization. He wants the family to be smaller. He wants it to be tighter. He wants to look around the room and know that everyone there is loyal. If Claudia Winkleman had written a tell-all book, she wouldn't have been at that investiture. She wouldn't have received a smile. She would have been frozen out. The fact that she was welcomed proves that loyalty is the only currency that matters to Charles right now. And what about Prince William in all this? He must be watching his father closely. He sees the exhaustion. He sees the groan. And it must fuel his rage against Harry. William knows that every ounce of stress Harry adds is an ounce of energy taken away from Charles's recovery. This is why William is the enforcer. He is the one ensuring that the bad relatives don't get anywhere near the king. If Charles is too polite to say "get out," William will say it for him. The groan was a slip, a moment of weakness. William's job is to ensure the king never has to feel that way again. The reduction in cancer treatment suggests the king is winning his battle. But the war for the monarchy's peace of mind continues. As long as there are relatives in California plotting their next move, the king will never be truly at ease. This story, which seems small, a groan, a joke about Danny Dyer, is actually a massive indicator of the palace atmosphere. It is tense. It is guarded. They are circling the wagons. And let's spare a thought for the staff, the poor aide who had to tell the king, "Sir, there is a relative coming in." That aide probably thought he was going to get fired. The tension in the court is real. Everyone is walking on eggshells, trying to protect the king from anything that might upset him. But the happy ending with Claudia Winkleman is important. It shows that the king hasn't lost his sense of humor or his ability to connect. He is a fan of Strictly. He is a normal man in an abnormal position. He can still find joy in the good relatives. So, as we celebrate the news of his health improving, let's also validate his feelings. He has a right to groan. He has a right to be sick of people. He has carried the weight of the family, the nation, and the Commonwealth while fighting cancer. If he wants to mutter "another one" under his breath, let him. The lesson here for Harry is clear. Your father is tired, he is sick, and he is done with the drama. If you try to come back now, you won't get a welcome home parade. You will get a groan. You will be seen as just another one. Another problem. Another headache. Another relative trying to take something. The king has closed the circle. If you aren't in it by now, like the Winklemans, the Parker Bowleses, the Middletons, you are out. I want to know what you think. Is the king's reaction justified? Does it show just how much stress Harry has caused him? And are you relieved to hear his cancer treatment is being scaled back? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. If you support the king and want to protect him from the toxic relatives, hit that like button. And subscribe to the channel for the truth behind the groans and the glory. Until next time, keep your eyes on the palace.